of the amazing Anthony Bourdain and the very talented Kate Spade a couple of days ago, we decided to create a mega thread about suicide prevention. So many great and talented people have left the world by way of suicide, not just those are famous, but friends and family members of everyday people. That's why we would like to use this thread for those that have been affected by the suicide of someone to tell your story, or if you yourself have almost ended your life, tell us about what changed. I have lost two people in my life to suicide. My cousin and my best friend. My cousin went downhill very fast. He began taking drugs and his girlfriend had had enough and told him she was leaving and packed her bags. A few hours after leaving, my cousin ended his own life and was found by his youngest daughter, who refused to leave with her mother. My best friend had turned his life around. In school he had weight problems and by the second year of college had lost over 70 pounds, but it wasn't enough. He still struggled and it became too much. I blame myself every day for his death because I didn't reach out to him. We hadn't spoken in over a year but still considered him best friend. The reason we hadn't spoken or seen each other was because we were suffering with social anxiety. I was in the middle of CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, when I got the news and my world kind of fell apart, as I intended on getting him out to have a drink once I was done. I have two tattoos on my wrists that are dedicated to him. Both of them are the names of our favorite songs from the same band. We always fought over which was better. My big brother killed himself a few weeks ago. He was a great person, and my best friend. I have no idea why he did it, but he must have felt absolutely miserable. He wasn't an idiot, quite the opposite actually, so I would think that he would get help if he had suicidal thoughts. Just a month or two ago he seemed normal, but of course we can't tell what he was thinking. When the police came to tell us that he was dead, it didn't even cross my mind that he had killed himself. It came as a big shock to everyone who knew him, his friends and relatives. We all miss him very much. In 2015 I was fresh off a wonderful honeymoon with my amazing wife when I hit a little low. I'm manic depressive and am used to the ups and downs, but this low didn't go away. I thought I was stronger than my depression, but it just kept going. After about 6 months my spouse was just barely able to hang in there and was spending a lot of time at her mother's in another town because I was just such a fucking asshole and was losing myself. Christmas night that year, wife was at her family's celebration. I sat in our guest bedroom alone and had my 9mm in my hand. I struggled and was crying and angry and a fucking nightmare was unfolding in my head. I couldn't do it though. I let my dog in and he jumped on me and was licking me and wagging his tail, so I hung out with him for a while and put the gun away. I promised my wife I would try to make the changes necessary to recover, and fast forward to today, we're halfway through her pregnancy with our first. It's a boy. I'm very physically active and I have things to work towards, and now son coming that deserves a great set of parents. My wife is incredible and she stuck with me through times where I would have left myself. She did what she could when she could, considering how much I was pushing everyone away during that time. I can never repay her for being loyal to me when I don't think I deserved loyalty. I just hope I can give her and my son the best husband and dad possible for the rest of our lives. Edit, at the time, I was planning to make everyone hate me so no one would miss me when I finally killed myself. It was a dark pattern that made me lose who I was. I am a different person today and I have learned to recognize the signs and not ignore my small lows. I never miss a chance to tell my wife how wonderful she is. I also added the physically active part because getting back into shape and being physically tired is incredibly therapeutic for me, personally. Currently suicidal person here, lived a kind of shit life. Abusive parents, bobbed through foster care. Mother is a schizophrenic with psychosis. Recently diagnosed with PTSD and severe depression. With a moderate risk of schizophrenia. So the question is suicide a better option than taking the gamble of mental illness? Because my mother was a living nightmare. Please be mindful that most suicidal people are well aware of the existence of suicide hotlines. that many of them are also well versed in the kinds of pith advice people want to dish out so liberally, well-intentioned as it is, and that many of them do not want to die. They just do not know what else to do. Some are truly devastatingly depressed or mentally ill. But this is not uniformly true. Many people who are suicidal are genuinely not mentally ill. Speaking of myself a long time ago now and others I have known, there are people out there whose suicidal ideation is a logical analytic response to essentially impossible life pressures and situations, and, right or wrong, it can feel very hurtful, even offensive, and unhelpful to tell them their thinking is clouded. I and others I have known used the same basically functional working, but very stressed, analytic mind to choose not to commit suicide. As I moved through that place and eventually out of it, I had to hold on to the option in my mind and make the choice, albeit increasingly more easily, many times before it was gone. All that and this too, please don't turn people into messages or PSAs. Suicide is absolutely horrible. I have been affected by its aftermath more times than I care to share, very directly and less intimately as well. It is probably almost never the right thing to do, save terminal illness, etc., but it's important to honor lives as more than their ending. Hey everyone, I posted a thread on Twitter https://twitter.com/ikaron/status/100511377659191296, talking about how you can support folks who are struggling with depression and suicidal ideation beyond just saying, call the suicide hotline. While the compassion behind that message is wonderful, there's so much more you can do. Less than 3. Love to all my fellow sufferers out there. You're not alone, even though you may think you are. I have a question as someone who has struggled with suicidal ideation in the past. For the record, I'm doing really well right now and have no depression or suicidal ideation. Can someone tell me what I should expect to happen if I am feeling suicidal and I call a suicide helpline? Will they somehow track me down and call the police? When I have been at my lowest, I have fortunately never been close to attempting, but I have made plans, and the last time even went so far as to gather important documents, write up a sheet of info for my husband about important accounts, passwords, etc. If I get to that point again, what would be the benefit of calling a helpline? Is there anything I can do now to prepare myself in case I'm faced with that again? When I'm in a good place I am able to see the value of a helpline, but when I'm at my lowest I keep it very hidden because I don't want anyone to get a clue and call the police or have me committed. What can I do to actually get myself help when I'm in that kind of place, mentally speaking? Or what can my husband do? I have been very candid with him when I'm not depressed and tell him how seriously he should take it if he ever hears me talk about ending my life. If we got to that point again, what should he do? I tried to kill myself at the end of May of this year. I felt like I hit rock bottom, and at the time it seemed like the only way out. I lost the woman I loved, I started drinking every day, I hurt a lot of people emotionally. I thought that if I pushed everyone away, it would be easier to let go. I'm not comfortable saying how I did it, but when I regained consciousness I called a friend who helped me. I'm so glad that I wasn't successful. When I was a young child, my mom and I walked in on my brother unconscious after a hanging, and it's an image that is seared into my brain. Thankfully he survived, but I'll never forget my mom's screams of agony, and her pleading with God when she was trying to get him to wake up. The thought of her having to go through that again, ensures that I will never attempt it anymore. Instead of wishing to die in my sleep, I'm so thankful for every day that I wake up. Because every day is a fresh start. And to the kind stranger on here who has talked to me and helped me, if you ever read this, thank you so much. You have helped more than you'll ever know. I called my doctor today. Time to get this shit sorted out. Should add that this isn't as huge and sudden as it sounds. Been living with this for more than 10 years, and I've been back on medication for a few months now after a full year off them. but things like Bourdain's suicide, and Scott Hutchison's in particular, which really punched me in the gut, are a reminder that I need to take this more seriously instead of just munching the pills and hoping it'll go away again. Thank you for the supportive messages though. You'd be surprised how much of a difference they sometimes make. It's my birthday today. Been struggling for 5-10 years now with severe depression. I don't know how to get better anymore. Every time I feel like progress is being made, I get hurled back to earth. I'm exhausted and just hopeless. Nothing has meaning anymore, and if nothing has meaning, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Even escapism has worn thin. I'm just at a loss. Sorry, but thanks for listening. Yesterday I was drying off in the shower when my wife came home, so I stayed quiet and hid. I heard her go from room to room looking and calling for me for several minutes, even going outside twice, before finally finding me in the bathroom. I asked, "Were you worried something happened to me?" And she said, "I was afraid I would find you hanging from the ceiling in the garage." I still don't really think I have a problem. Everyone gets down sometimes, but if someone that close to me is legitimately worried about me, I guess I should probably be worried about me too. My brother committed suicide at the age of 15, I was 16 at the time. One piece of advice that I can give to those who have been affected by suicide is to talk to someone. I mean, talk to someone, whether it be a friend, parent, or hell even your dog. Just talk. I'm almost 26 now, and for years and directly after, I buried all of my emotions and refused to talk to anyone, even my family, about it. It has really messed me up both emotionally and with my relationship with people and the world in the long run, and only in the last year have I realized this. So, please, just talk to someone, don't be like me. Anxiety is not a joke. Depression is not a joke. I've self-harmed a lot more lately, and I'm honestly not sure why I'm still here. My mom committed suicide when I was 12. I'm still very upset about it. I feel like it is a thing that needs to be noticed more than it is, and I'd like to thank you for the Megathread. A general message, the message of if you're feeling suicidal, contact X is kind of flawed. People who are suicidal/depressed have a hard time actually reaching out and getting help. If you suspect someone close to you has issues, reach out to them, don't make them reach out to you.